Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are undertaking a really critical deep dive into something that is fundamentally changing how every organization operates. I'm talking about the very architecture of software itself. Our mission is to trace the history of computing through three distinct phases of evolution, and most importantly, show you why the traditional systems, well, the ones still running most businesses today, they're not just inefficient anymore. They are now actively holding organizations back. Look, it's really a matter of business survival, not just, a technical upgrade.
That is the core thesis, exactly.
Yeah.
When we talk about software evolution, we aren't just discussing like new programming languages. What we're really discussing is the evolution of business intelligence, of capability itself. We're moving from systems that only enforce rules to systems that learn, decide, and act autonomously. And our objective is to understand this whole transition from a business value perspective. What was the rigidity tax everyone paid in phase two?
Yeah.
And what does true agent autonomy really look like for competitive advantage today?
Right. Okay, so let's unpack that. Where do we even start? Let's go back to the beginning, phase one.
The origin, the era of fixed instructions.
So this is the foundational bedrock of all computing, right? Static procedural programming. Software was designed to execute a very specific list of instructions.
And it was reliable because there was zero deviation. It did exactly what you told it to do, no more, no less. But that fixed nature created immediate limitations once real-world demand started changing.
Okay, like what?
Well, take those early accounting systems. They automated basic calculations, which was revolutionary at the time, but the moment a local tax code changed or a new international tariff was introduced, the system was suddenly just wrong.
So if the rule in the real world changed, the software required a human to go in and rewrite it, recompile it, redeploy it.
Precisely. That was the core pain. You bought this massive efficiency in the calculations, but you paid for it with continuous high-touch manual effort every time the environment shifted. Early customer service ticketing systems are another great example. They were excellent at logging a date and a time and assigning an ID number. But if you wanted to know if a customer was angry or if this new issue was related to a bug from last week, those systems had zero inherent capability to reason about that or learn. They were just sophisticated tracking logs.
So the key takeaway there is a total lack of learning, no adaptability. The machine had to be spoon-fed every single adjustment.
And in a fast-moving market, that manual burden just became a massive drag. This necessity for scale is what brought us rather squarely into phase two.
That moves us right into it then, the era of rule-based enterprise systems. As businesses scaled, we needed software that could handle, massive complexity, huge workflows, huge volumes of data. And this gave us the titans of the enterprise world, ERP systems, CRMs, complex supply chain platforms. We built powerful machines, but we built them on static logic.
And that's the critical distinction for the listener. Phase one was static programs. Phase two was static logic. These systems are incredibly powerful when the world behaves exactly as the rule set dictates. They automate, they integrate, they organize data, but their intelligence is bounded entirely by the code deployed, maybe years ago.
I often hear this referred to as the rigidity tax. We paid a fortune for customization and integration, only to find that those customizations made the systems brittle. What are the biggest challenges this rigidity is causing organizations right now?
Oh, the biggest challenge is the cost of change. Organizations are feeling the strain of static logic in a dynamic world. Think about a global supply chain built on a massive phase two ERP system. The system works flawlessly, calculating optimal inventory, transit routes, all based on a set of assumptions about stability. But what happens when an unexpected variable appears? A geopolitical conflict, a pandemic, a major weather event shutting down a key shipping route.
The system breaks down. It doesn't know how to reroute or prioritize or even flag the severity of the issue beyond just a simple alert. It just sits there executing the plan that no longer applies.
Exactly. The logic is siloed and non-adaptive. And what's more, the business cost of maintaining these systems is staggering. We've seen single upgrades to accommodate new compliance rules or market shifts take multiple years and cost millions, all because the underlying structure is so brittle. You have these highly paid specialists whose full-time job is basically shepherding the static software through our dynamic reality.
And the CRM systems are the same way, right? They store mountains of customer data, but unless you pay a team of expensive data scientists to run complex models, the system itself can't predict which customers are about to leave. or proactively suggest the next best sales action. It's a data warehouse, not a strategist.
It is the ultimate expression of needing human intervention to bridge the intelligence gaps. You have these huge, expensive rule-enforcing systems, yet they fail right at the moment you need intelligence, the moment you need adaptation the most. This operational pain, the financial and competitive drag of static logic, is what drove the sudden, rapid shift to Phase 3.
Okay, so that brings us to the present turning point. Phase 3, the rise of intelligent, agent-based systems. This is the moment where software stops just executing instructions and starts enabling autonomy. And it's driven by, well, the sheer necessity of coping with modern complexity.
This redefines the fundamental nature of software. We are no longer dealing with a fixed program. We are dealing with an agent designed to interact with its environment in a continuous loop. These agents observe their environment data streams, system states, they reason about conditions and options, they learn from outcomes of their past actions, and then crucially, they act autonomously to move closer to a defined business goal.
That's a huge shift from Phase 2. Can you give us a quick, simple analogy that really illustrates the difference between a Phase 2 rule and a Phase 3 agent?
Absolutely. Think about climate control. A Phase 2 system is a fixed thermostat. The rule is, if the temperature is 75 degrees, turn the AC on. It executes that rule perfectly, but it never asks why. It never considers the consequence. A Phase 3 agent, however, is tasked with optimizing energy cost while maintaining comfort. It observes weather forecasts, peak utility pricing, occupant schedules. It learns the thermal signature of the building, and then it reasons. Given that the sunniest part of the day is ahead, I will pre-cool the building now while rates are low, even though the internal temperature is currently acceptable.
Okay, now that's where it gets really interesting for the listener, because that system is making decisions based on prediction and context, not just a binary trigger. So what are the complex real-world business problems that now absolutely demand that kind of agent solution, because static software just can't cope?
It's always problems characterized by high volume, high variability, and high stakes. The classic example is customer support overload. Static software can't handle the sheer volume of, varied requests and unstructured data. This leads to inconsistent human responses and slow resolution times. Agents, however, can triage tickets instantly, analyze sentiment, cross-reference past resolutions, and route the issue with high accuracy.
I see the same thing happening in project management. Project delays are endemic, right? Often stemming from poor risk visibility, missed dependencies hidden deep in different systems, and manual status reporting that is obsolete the moment it's submitted.
Exactly. And sales inefficiencies are another critical pain point. Relying on humans to manually qualify leads means wasted time chasing dead ends and inconsistent follow-ups. You're leaving money on the table. An agent can monitor dozens of data sources simultaneously to qualify leads based on intent and instantly trigger a personalized, timely follow-up. And that frees up the sales rep for high-value closing conversations.
But hold on, if these systems are acting autonomously and reasoning about conditions, that introduces a whole new level of risk, doesn't it? I mean, if an agent optimizes for, say, supply chain speed and inadvertently causes a compliance violation, who's accountable? How do organizations safely introduce this?
That is a crucial question. It's one that every organization transitioning to Phase 3 has to address. The solution is careful governance and precise goal setting. You establish clear guardrails rules the agent absolutely cannot violate, and you define the success metric, which often involves balancing competing goals like speed and compliance. The system learns within those boundaries, which is why the shift requires very careful strategic planning, not just, buying a piece of software.
That brings us logically to the transition from the general evolution to specific practical solutions available today. For the listener who's looking to implement this, how do providers make this agent evolution actionable and, well, safe?
The first step is usually recognizing the two major types of intelligence solutions that tackle different parts of the problem, and often they deploy them at the same time.
Okay, let's start with the one that helps humans execute better, the AI assistants.
Right. Think of the AI assistant as the best chief of staff you've ever had. Their focus is on execution and reducing manual workload while ensuring consistency. They augment human teams. We see this with AI project manager assistants, which continuously track cross-portfolio risks and dependencies, flagging critical path issues instantly. They provide the human PM with perfect real-time insights, ensuring every decision is based on current data.
So they ensure consistency and speed up the human decision cycle.
Precisely. Or take AI customer support assistants. They triage high-priority tickets, synthesize previous interactions, and suggest the most effective, policy-compliant responses to the human agent. This speeds up resolution times while maintaining the brand voice. And in really complex areas, AI compliance assistants can interpret constantly evolving rule sets and automatically flag potential violations in contracts or processes before they become liabilities.
So the assistant is focused on making the human team consistently excellent. Got it. But the real game changer is the fully autonomous AI agent, which moves into adaptive decision-making.
This is where the system is programmed with a goal and can adapt its actions without human intervention. This is phase 3 at its highest level. For instance, an AI operations agent isn't just monitoring the production workflow, it's programmed to resolve bottlenecks based on its learned understanding of system capacity. If it sees a machine dependency issue, it might automatically reallocate jobs to another machine or proactively adjust a downstream schedule to mitigate the ripple effect.
It's solving the problem, not just reporting the alert.
Exactly. Or consider the sales agent. It doesn't just store data like a phase 2 CRM. It actively uses external signals and internal data to qualify leads, determine the correct sales collateral, and trigger personalized follow-ups, managing the entire top of the funnel autonomously. In finance, a finance agent can forecast cash flow and flag financial risks in real time, adapting its predictions based on new spending data the minute it appears. It automatically adjusts its models without waiting for a monthly report.
That kind of real-time adaptability is something phase 2 static logic could only dream of. But shifting from decades of fixed systems to a multi-agent architecture, that's a huge strategic undertaking. This is why that third component AI consulting becomes so strategically necessary for safe adoption.
It absolutely is. You can't simply plug in an agent. WinningTeamAI.com, for example, really emphasizes the consulting aspect to ensure scalable, secure adoption that aligns with an organization's highest strategic goals. This work involves designing the multi-agent architecture, determining which agents handle which tasks, securely integrating them with existing legacy platforms, and establishing those essential governance frameworks and guardrails we just discussed. You need to train teams to trust and work alongside these new intelligent systems.
This sounds less like an IT project and more like a complete overhaul of how the business functions. It sounds urgent. So let's summarize the bottom line. Why are AI agents a competitive imperative right now? Why can't a business just put this off for 5 years?
Well, the competitive advantage is immediate, and it's accelerating. Organizations that deploy these agents gain continuous learning from every single interaction they process. They adapt instantly to changing market environments. They don't have to wait for the next expensive upgrade cycle. They offer 24/7 high-accuracy operation, which dramatically reduces costs while simultaneously improving quality across all functions.
And the leverage for human employees becomes transformative. They move away from monotonous manual monitoring and firefighting, and they start focusing on the strategic challenges that truly require human creativity and complex negotiation.
That's the core outcome. Organizations that start deploying AI agents today gain faster execution, better actionable insights, and dramatically lower operational risk. Those relying solely on traditional, static, rule-based software from phase 2, which unfortunately is still the majority, are guaranteed to fall behind in speed, in cost, and in capacity in the very near term. This shift is non-negotiable for maintaining market position.
This entire deep dive has charted a really clear evolution. Software has moved from simple tools that merely execute instructions into intelligent systems that can understand, decide, and act within specific goal parameters. It is the end of software rigidity and the beginning of business flexibility.
That is the essential transition. The future of high-performance work isn't merely automated, it is fundamentally agent-powered. And for you, the listener, take this knowledge and evaluate one complex process in your own organization. A process where static, rule-based software is currently failing to handle unexpected complexity, high risk, or volatile volume efficiently. That single failure point is your starting line for the agent revolution.